Imagine sitting in a room with a monster, a man suspected of a crime so brutal the veteran detectives handling the case are visibly shaking. Now, imagine that monster doesn't speak. He doesn't deny the accusations. He doesn't ask for a lawyer. He doesn't even move. For 4 consecutive hours, police in Seattle watched this man through a one-way mirror. His heart rate, monitored by discrete sensors, never spiked. His eyes never blinked. He just sat and stared directly at the camera lens recording him. But what happened in the final minute of that interrogation? That's what broke lead detective Miller. That's why this file was classified red, because at exactly 11:43 p.m., the man who hadn't spoken a single word finally opened his mouth and predicted an event so impossible it shattered the logic of the entire department. November 14th, 2022, Seattle police bring a man in for questioning. He has no wallet, no phone, no ID. In the police report, he is listed simply as John Doe. He was found standing perfectly still near the last known location of Sarah Jenkins, a local college student who had vanished 48 hours prior. Detective Miller, a 25-year veteran of the force, enters Interrogation Room 3. He's handled serial killers, cartel bosses, and sociopaths. He knows how to break a man. He thought this would be standard. Miller starts the standard procedure: name, address, relationship to Sarah. For 20 minutes, Miller asks questions. John Doe says nothing. His expression doesn't change. He isn't smug. He isn't angry. He is void. But then Miller notices the eyes. John isn't looking at Miller. He's looking past Miller. His gaze is locked onto the tiny security camera mounted high in the corner of the room. Frustrated by the silence, Miller tries a psychological tactic. He gets up and leaves the room. He wants John to stew in his own anxiety. He wants the isolation to do the work. Miller goes behind the one-way glass to watch with 2 other officers. An hour passes, then 2. Standard suspects fidget, they sweat, they pace, they tap their fingers. It's basic human psychology. We cannot handle absolute silence and isolation when accused of a crime. But John Doe didn't move. Analysis of the surveillance footage later confirmed something physiologically terrifying. In those 4 hours, John Doe didn't blink, not once. His breathing was shallow, his posture unchanged. To look at him was to look at a statue. Behind the glass, the atmosphere shifted from frustration to dread. The officers stopped talking. The hum of the ventilation system seemed louder. Watching John Doe felt wrong, like they were watching something pretending to be a human being. He was playing a game of chicken with the surveillance system, and he was winning. It's nearly midnight. Miller, exhausted and unsettled, decides to end the session. He walks back into the room. He needs to get this guy processed and moved to a holding cell. He slams a photo of Sarah onto the table. John Doe doesn't look at the photo. He finally shifts his gaze from the camera corner down to his own hands on the table. For the first time in 4 hours, his lips move. His voice is raspy, dry, as if it hasn't been used in years.
11:43:02.
Miller pauses. "What did you say?" he asks. John Doe repeats it, but slower. 11:43:02. Your phone. Miller looks at his watch. It's 11:42 p.m. He looks down at his work phone pocket. He feels an icy pit in his stomach. How did this man, who has had no contact with the outside world for hours, know Miller's work phone number? Miller doesn't speak. The silence in the room is heavy. He waits. 30 seconds pass. 40. 50. Miller is practically counting the heartbeats echoing in his ears. And then, at exactly 11:43:02, Miller rips the phone from his pocket, scrambling the call. John Doe looks back up at the camera. For the first time, he's smiling, just a slight lift of the corners of his mouth. Miller answers. It's static on the other end. Then, a sound. The sound of water and crying. Miller hangs up. He yells at the other officers to take John to processing. Miller is done. 2 hours later, search teams based on leads entirely unrelated to John Doe find Sarah Jenkins in a ravine 30 miles away. She's alive. The phone call Miller received was untraceable. The timing, the precision of the prediction was never explained. John Doe was eventually released due to lack of evidence, disappearing back into the rainy streets of Seattle. He never spoke another word while in custody. Detective Miller retired 6 months early. He said he couldn't handle the thought of what was sitting across from him in that room. He didn't think it was a man. He thought it was a conduit, a glitch in the matrix. So what really happened in Seattle? Was it a massive, coordinated psychological hoax? Or did the surveillance system inside Interrogation Room 3 record something truly anomalous?